Good morning and welcome to our daily devotion. It's been a while since I've done a daily devotion and I so apologize for that. Over the past couple of weeks or so, I've just been, I just needed to take a step back and take a breath. Um, I'm always open and honest and real with you guys, and I've been having some bad weeks and bad days and stuff. I feel like I've been quarantined forever and ever, with surgery and then the COVID and then shingles and all this other kind of stuff. I'll tell you, during the course of time, I had to ask myself about, my self-worth felt like this, like what in the world am I here for? What good am I doing? What could I be doing more of? And my self-esteem was like almost like that. And I had a long conversation with my pastor one day. And I've been wanting to do this devotion because I feel like many of you out there may be feeling or experiencing some of the same things. Like you want to know why, why are you here? Why are you resisting? What in the world is going on? Why has God left us? It seems like sometimes to hang out and dry, but he hasn't. Just like, what is your self-worth like? What is your self-purpose? Just all kinds of questions like that. And my pastor sent me this article, and it's about self-esteem, but it's from a different perspective. And it was a really good article, and it really opened my eyes to some things. We all like to think highly of ourselves, and we like to think, that we're good people, and that we we try to pump up our children. We make sure their self-esteem is high and they feel like they're empowered, and we like to empower ourselves. But this article is from a different perspective, and I gotten permission to read this article to you this morning because it really profoundly impacted on how I perceived self-esteem. So I want to read it to you. And of course it is from a Christian's point of view. And the author is Chad Bird, and he's a father, husband, father, and a grandfather. And he went to Concordia Theological Seminary and Hebrew Union College. And he is a former professor and of theology. And so he wrote a book called Up Down Spirituality, The 9 Essential Failures of the Faithful Life, which I'm going to be reading that book soon. But let me read this to you real quick. So please be patient and please stay through the whole video because this is so important. The title of his article is We're Better People Without Self-Esteem. The foundation of a Christian life is that our life is not our own. We don't belong to ourselves. God has purchased us with the currency of Jesus' blood. If we're going to raise well-adjusted children who have a shot at doing well in this world, having healthy relationships, and avoiding the toxic temptations of this life, then a good first step is to stop trying to boost their self-esteem. It doesn't help. Quite the opposite. Excuse me. Fostering high self-esteem in our children is a surefire way of warping their understanding of what it means to be human in our world. I know this all too well. Born in 1970, right after self-esteem became the wildly popular push of psychology, I was daily overdosed in school and elsewhere with messages designed to raise my self-esteem. Told to think I am worthy, I am important, I am competent, pushed to have a high evaluation of myself, warned that low self-esteem characterizes those who end up as criminals, who suffer from depression, who don't do well in life. In short, I was told the higher my self-esteem, the higher my chances are at becoming the best person I could possibly be. It all sounded good. Now, 48 years later, I realized societal doctors dished out medicine that only aided and abetted my illness. Prescribing heightened self-esteem to people is like prescribing cigarettes to lung cancer patients. We all know that if a disease is misdiagnosed, it will lead to an unsuccessful, if not fatal, treatment plan. You don't heal a broken arm with chemotherapy, so it is with self-esteem. Because we misdiagnose the problem, we administer the wrong medicine. Our problem, our sickness, is not that we think too little of ourselves. It's not even that we think too highly of ourselves, though that's much closer to the truth. Our problem is that we spend way too much time thinking of ourselves, period. On any given day, our thoughts, our emotions, our inner valuations of where we stand in comparison to others, all revolve around the ego. We might come to the conclusion that everyone else seems better at things than we are, so we feel mediocre or like a failure. Or we might conclude that we are better than others, we're more physically fit than our beer guts around us, our vehicle is sportier, our wife is hotter, our kids get into better schools, so we feel our life is superior. Life becomes a competition full of winners and losers, and depending on where we stand on the continuum, we esteem ourselves higher or lower than others. As long as this is the game we're playing, no matter how many trophies we win or lose, no matter how bad or good we feel about ourselves, in the end, the game is still nothing more than a sport that's all about our egos. And if I've learned anything in life, it's that something that revolves around our egos is bound to produce humans who never live up to the potential that God Himself has designed for them. A life lived to the full, a life that is in keeping with how the Creator Himself has fashioned it, is a life in which self is not at the center, but the periphery. The best life is not one full of high esteem or low self-esteem, but full of self-forgetfulness. There is where the wisdom of Jesus shines through. Over and over He caught His disciples comparing themselves to each other, quibbling over which of them was the alpha. His counterintuitive answer to them was to turn their expectations upside down. You want to be great? Well, be little. You want to be first? Be last. You want to lead? Serve. In other words, if you want to be something, be nothing. Forget about how great you think you are, how much you want to succeed, and instead of focusing on yourself, focus on the other. Paul puts it this way: in humility, count others more significant than yourselves. Philippians 2:3. Find your importance, your purpose, your goal outside your ego. Find it in your neighbor's need. Become the best human being that you can be by esteeming others as people you were called to serve, to help, and to love. The foundation of Christian life is that our life is not our own. We don't belong to ourselves. God has purchased us with the currency of Jesus' blood. To become a Christian is to lose our life and find new life in Christ. To be emptied of whatever opinions we have of ourselves, positive or negative, and to find that the only opinion that matters is God's. And what is God's opinion of us? That we are His children, His loved ones, His special treasure, all because we have been united with Christ so closely that it is no longer we who live, but Christ who lives in us. Galatians 2:20. Likewise, just as we live in Christ, so Christ lives through us in service to others. Who cares what others think of us? Who even cares what we think of ourselves? All that doesn't matter one iota. It's all chasing after the wind. What matters is this: God is 100% pleased with us in Christ. We have died and risen in Him again, and He is active in us to love, to forgive, to serve, to pour out our own lives in sacrifice for family, friends, and even people who are mean and hateful to us. C.S. Lewis defined humility not as thinking less of ourselves, but as thinking of ourselves less. Does that make sense? Contrary to the self-esteem movement, Christianity says that the less we think of ourselves, the less we estimate how good or bad or mediocre we are. The less our lives revolve around all our egos, the better people we'll be, because we'll be living in the conformity of how our Master, our Maker, designed us. And in that is freedom. Freedom from the prison of the ego. Freedom from the constant comparisons of ourselves with others. Freedom inside the Son of God, who came to set us free from ourselves and to free us for a life of love, in which we find in others our reason to live. And he added, I am indebted to Tim Keller's brief but weighty book, The Freedom of Self-Forgetfulness, for many insights in this article. I'll tell you, I never ever looked at self-esteem in that way. But how true is it? The less we think about ourselves, the more we think about others, the more we try to live a life that God intended for us to live. It gave me a whole different perspective, and I hope it gives you a perspective of it too. I'm going to include the link to the article in the description box so that you can read it for yourself and maybe take a moment to reflect on what the author was really saying. I want you to know that I love each and every one of you, for all those who support my channel, but most of all for those friends that I have made here on YouTube. I continue to struggle financially, sometimes emotionally, sometimes mentally, sometimes spiritually, sometimes, but I am human. And what I do with all those emotions and all those experiences has less to do with who I am as far as a person, and more to do with who I am as far as a Christian goes. I am a child of God, and if you believe in Jesus and you have faith in His saving grace, you are a child of God. And no matter whether here on earth or in heaven, He will take care of us forever. He will love us forever, and He will never forsake us, ever. So, I don't know what purpose right now I am here for, other than the fact that I am here to share the love of God with others and to try to spread love and hope to other people, to help when I can, but when I can't, the one thing I can do is pray, and to pray for others. You don't have to be financially wealthy to help other people. One of the most powerful things that you can do for each other is to pray for each other. If you have the ability to help others, help them. But if you don't have the ability to do something for someone else, pray for them. That is a powerful thing that you can do. And sometimes that's all that I can do. I want you to know that I pray for you all, and I am proud to be called your friend. Right now, some people need our prayers. Alicia, and I forgot her YouTube channel, Country Girl First. She had a stroke, and she needs our prayers. And Crafty JJ Newton, I think Jackie has some tests done. I don't know what the outcome is, but please keep Jackie in your prayers as well. And if you would like for our group to pray for you, and you want me to have it on our daily devotion, please list it below down in the comment section. If you want it to be a private prayer between you and I, just say I have a private prayer request, and I can pray for you. God knows what it is. I don't have to. Thank you, my friends, for joining me. Like I said, I love each and every one of you. I hope to be back every day now with our daily devotion. God bless, and I will see you all again soon.